It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleepy paths or allowed to mornings. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 reasons sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah. Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Welcome back to 5 on the Floor Live. I'm your host, Greg Sylvander. Tonight's floor plan with me, we have Digital Adel, and we're recapping the Miami Heat's victory. Let's go. Finally, it's been tough this last week or so. They gut one out over the Phoenix Suns, 127-121. We are going to get into the game. Before we do, you know what I'm going to talk about. First is Off the Floor. That is our Discord server, $2.99 a month for the most heat anywhere. This is what you need to be tapping into, especially when we're a month or so, less than a month before the trade deadline. This is the time to get in before February 5th, before the intel is flying. Jump on. You can always cancel, but you won't want to. $2.99 a month. That's Off the Floor. Also, major shout out to our daily fantasy sponsor. That's Prize Picks. You got to use the code 5 to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5. Flex plays, power plays, you name it. It is fun to play Prize Picks. You choose the players and the stats that make sense to you. Choose more or less on those stats, and you can win big. Prize Picks, use that code 5. I feel like we should just actually, before we even do anything, just to be extra obnoxious, go right in to the Insurance by Lynette Player of the Night.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the Heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
Is there any question? The slump may be busted. I even had to bust out.
Let's go.
Adebayo jersey. Just because, boy, if any human being needed a game like tonight, it was Bam, Adele. He struggled. Absolutely. The broadcast showed over the last 7 games, he averaged 11 points, was shooting in the sub-30s from the field. Obviously, it's been tough. Tonight, he came through in a huge way, 29 points, 11 of 15 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. And boy, it just felt like a day that Bam needed this. And I hope that it is the turn for him where we start to see the shots go in, because sometimes that mental game can change and unlock a lot of things for everyone. Your thoughts on Bam's bounce back performance? We'll get into his fourth quarter stretch, but just your overall thoughts on Bam having what could be a slump buster.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved what I saw from Bam Adebayo tonight, and this is what you want to see every night, is that aggressiveness. He had that aggressiveness from the get-go. He led the Miami Heat tonight. He was the one that was taking it right to the Phoenix Suns. He did a little bit of everything. He did it on the offensive end, inside the paint, couple of pump fakes on Mark Williams, getting him up in the air, hitting him with the little left-handed jump hook. You saw the little midi. You saw some threes. You saw the full repertoire from Bam tonight. And then you on the defensive end, he played great defense. He was, that connective piece on the offensive end whenever he stopped scoring after that initial 16-point barrage he put up. And, he just gets he he could be such an X factor and game changer for this team when he's aggressive. He isn't always like that all the time. But when he is, man, it's a beautiful thing to watch, man. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
And especially there's been games recently where he's had pockets of the game where he's been aggressive and then he just misses every damn shot. And that is also a mental battle. Tonight he overcame that. It just seemed like the basket was gigantic for him. He could basically throw it in the ocean there, and he needed that. And so if we take nothing else from this game, which obviously a game on January the 13th doesn't necessarily define one season. The Heat are still 2 games above 500. We'll see what happens as we approach the trade deadline. I think getting tonight's victory was big. Overcoming Phoenix, getting back in that game after they had a 20-point lead is another sign of life from them, that they actually closed this one out. So that's big. But just to piss everyone off, I'm going to say it again. Bam Adebayo was your player of the game, folks. But do you think this is what do you think of Phoenix as a team? Like, do you think how much of a quality victory do you rate this, I guess? I know Phoenix is above 500. They've been uneven at times, but they have a better record than Miami. Your thoughts on just how good Phoenix is before we slide to the play of the night?
I think it's a quality win because even though Phoenix is 24-15, which is a better record than the Miami Heat, not by a lot, but out west, it's a much tougher place to play night in and night out. So I think it is it's a real quality win. I don't think Phoenix as a whole played that great overall, to be honest. Dylan Brooks had the game of his life, and he's never that type of offensive force, and he was able to sum it up 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. And let me just, while we're on the topic of Dylan Brooks, we can all agree, every NBA fan base can agree, he's probably the most annoying player in the NBA because he's dirty. He'll pull your guys down, and then he'll act like he didn't do anything.
Yeah, that last play against Wiggs was total BS. He grabbed him by the shoulder and tossed him down.
That's how people get
famous
injured,
for that kind of crap. I can't stand him or Grayson Allen, if we're just being honest. They're probably guys that if they were played for the Heat for a while, I would start to like what they do because I know that can be the case.
I'd never liked Dylan
but
Brooks.
maybe less so with Dylan Brooks because he talks trash. He thinks he's better than he is. Right. I am not a fan of Dylan Brooks, so it was good for him to eat humble pie tonight. Even Devin Booker thought he was tough pushing Pele. So, it's just nice to get a victory under those circumstances, especially after a 3-game road trip where you got blown out basically every single night. Then they lost the lead tonight, so I started to get worried that this was going to be one that slips through the cracks, but they found a way to get it done. And there was a specific series of plays that happened late in the fourth quarter that contributed to the victory, and we're going to use that to talk about who else but Bam Adebayo. The Arm and Staffing X-Ray Play of the Day.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you. If you work in a hospital or a medical office, get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-ray of the Play of the Day.
So your boy Bam Adebayo had a stretch in the fourth where he scored at least 10 straight, because I know there was about a 20-foot jumper and then 2 or 3 threes that he hit. And that was really the stretch that kind of cemented the game for the Heat. There were some free throw antics at the end, but ultimately, the story of tonight's game is hopefully Bam getting out of this slump. Norm played well also. Do want to highlight that. I think Tyler had his moments in the first half more than the second half. And Jaime Jaquez continues to be a player that they put the ball in his hands late in the game. Your thoughts on Jaime being kind of the primary initiator late in that ball game? They cleared out a side and gave it to Jaime. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me talk about Bam, and then I'll spin back to Jaime real quick. So Bam actually started that run of his with a tip dunk with like 5:08 left. And then he hit a free throw. He split a pair. And that's when he started raining jumpers. Hit that three from the corner. Then he hit another three, a 26-footer from the left wing. I mean, he was on fire. So, I mean, that stretch goes back a little ways that maybe back further than people realize, like how well he played.
I realize.
Absolutely. And then Jaime Hawkins Jr., I've been saying for a while on this show, if you have followed this content from the beginning of the season, whenever this run started, this whole new offense started, I said Jaime Hawkins Jr. is one of the most important pieces to it. And that doesn't mean he's the best player, but he's one of the most important pieces, because whenever the main guys come off the court, there's no drop off. He keeps that thing running. And then I'd put up some deep dive numbers on Jaime Hawkins Jr. as being one of their best isolation players on the entire team and one of their best low shot clock players on the entire team. So what you saw tonight in the fourth quarter, the coaches see those numbers. The coaches see that production. They start having faith in him. And you saw that manifest tonight with him handling the ball in crunch time and facilitating to everyone else. I mean, you just don't get that type of usage as a bench player for nothing. You know what I mean? You have to have some sort of trust and faith from your teammates and from the coaches to be able to run the offense and for them to trust you to get a good shot or make the right decision, which he did time and time again down the stretch.
We have a user in our chat that keeps spamming with Fire Spo. He's been put in timeout. Not tonight, y'all. We are celebrating a victory. Listen, this has been a tough stretch. The Miami Heat fans are at odds with each other. Everybody is basically like, you got half the fan base trade Tyler, probably more than half, but half the fan base wants to trade Bam. There's a faction of the fan base that thinks that Spoelstra needs to go. There's another faction that thinks Riley should step down. Everybody is in their most existential forms right now with this Miami Heat team. So they got a victory. We got a couple people in the chat. Doe Lopez 40 says he's definitely at odds with Alex Toledo. It's good to see that people are also having a little bit of fun. We're going to use the little bit of the ending of the show. And just to reiterate to everybody, 127-121 was your final score at the Kaseya Center on Pat Riley Court. The Miami Heat get the victory. Hopefully this can be a week where they're playing teams that we thought, oh no, their record is good. This could be a tough week for them to get through. Just get this next one against Boston, and then whatever happens against OKC can be gravy on Saturday. So it's good that they got the first win. I do want to address something though, because I think everybody is starting to hear this more and more, and I think it's important that we just quickly touch on it. I do want to say that the smoke behind the Ja Morant stuff is real, and there's definitely, it's something to continue to monitor. I don't think Miami's going to overpay. I don't see them as a team that would like bid up for Tyler Hero, but I do think that for Ja Morant, like I personally heard today that there could be iterations of the deal where they try to get Ja Morant and not trade Tyler Hero. Wow. I don't know how that works from a payroll perspective, long-term especially. But anyway, I just think that everyone should be on alert. Get your notifications on for people like Shams. That's probably all you need to have your notifications on for. And also join off the floor so that as we find information, we never break the final trade, because that is for the league insiders to do, but we can definitely give you the context as it's playing out. So join off the floor. Adele, your thoughts on Ja Morant, who's having a tough season, but in the last 10 games or so has looked better. His metrics have improved. I don't know if that's a sign of anything, but your thoughts on the idea of adding Ja Morant in Miami?
I like the idea of Ja Morant in Miami for the right price, because he's a player that's an explosive athlete that's undersized. I mean, he's 6 foot tall. He's got a gigantic wingspan, but he's super skinny as well. So his game, he's going to have to really lean into his facilitation as he gets older. He's going to have to refine his shooting mechanics. And I think you'll be able to get an explosive athlete for maybe the first couple of years. And then he's going to have to really try to work on refining his game. In a place like Miami, he can do that. He'll have that structure. He'll have that culture and community, some of the best coaches in the business. I mean, if you just look at what Rob has done for countless players in their jump shots that have come through Miami, I think
true.
if there's anybody that can fix Ja's jump shot, it's his. And it's really only a few things with Ja's jump shot. Like his footwork, the way he loads his power is kind of on his left leg. I think he's going to be a good fit, man. I think if they can get those few things cleaned up and it's at the right price, I would be in on Ja Morant to Miami.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like if it's at the right price, let's take a chance on a guy who raises the ceiling if he figures his stuff out.
Right.
Understanding that he's under contract and that you probably wouldn't extend other guys. Speaking of extensions, I'm going to put a question up by Mactamon, who's always in our chat after every game. So shout out to you just for the interaction and always being here. But I'm actually going to put up this question because my son posed this question to me during the game and I didn't have a great answer. So I'm going to see if Adele can shine light on it. So at the end of the game, and I know everyone's like, oh no, they're pivoting back to the game after we just were getting into trade talks. This is no fun. Listen, just all I'm telling y'all is keep your ear to the street about the Ja Morant stuff. They were subbing Norm out like on some offense defense stuff, but they weren't subbing out Tyler. My son was astute enough to ask, why not pull Tyler and Norm out for those defense offense switches? Your thoughts on that? Why do you think it was just Norm that they kept pulling off the floor? Matchups?
I mean, matchups, but I don't think it would matter whether it was Norm or Tyler. I think the key is that if the play keeps going, you still need to have somebody in there that can actually handle the ball and can be able to score for you. Because down the stretch, if you get a defensive stop, you don't want to turn it right back over. So you need ball handling. You need people that can score, make free throws. Norm did have, as the tweet, or not tweet, as the comment flashed up on the screen there, he did have some foul trouble. So they're just trying to save him for down the stretch as well. But in those situations, you're never going to take two of your top players off the floor at the same time. You're just not.
Yeah, that's a good point. And actually the 5 fouls had eluded me that I didn't have I for some reason I thought he had 4. So then it just didn't have a good answer. So figured I would ask you. The chat helped us out. Norm had 5 fouls. That's why they were pulling him out.
Right.
We are happy to report that the Miami Heat get this victory. We got Boston up next. We'll see how that goes. Let's hope that this is a game that Bam Adebayo can build upon, that the Heat can build upon. It's one of the few, and I'm just going to quickly check this stat because I've been doing it every post game for a while now. So just bear with me. Here it comes. Points off turnovers to finish this game. The Heat 24, Phoenix 18. When they win that battle, they tend to win the game. That's always my key stat to look at. The Heat get it done. Adele, thank you for your time. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to everyone on Off the Floor. Prize Picks, use that code 5. Have a good night. Peace.